It's time for Perspective, and 3 more weeks. That is a 4th now extension of his time in detention. It's the situation for the environmentalist and anti-whaling activist Paul Watson. The 3 weeks added, pending still a decision on his possible extradition from Greenland to Japan, where he's wanted over an altercation with whalers. 73-year-old Watson was arrested back in July when his ship docked there to refuel on its way to intercept a new Japanese whaling factory vessel in the North Pacific. Well, we're going to talk now to William Julié. He's an international criminal lawyer, part of Paul Watson's defence legal team. Thanks very much for coming in to talk to us. Another delay then, another 4th extension now, another 3 weeks. What's your reaction to it?
We're not happy with that extension. I must say that we did see it coming. We were not having too high hopes about this hearing. And our belief now is that, sadly, we might only succeed in freeing Paul Watson from prison once we win the extradition process. Which will take a couple of more weeks or months, sadly.
I know that you're in regular contact with Paul Watson. I mean, how's he holding up?
He's anxious, of course. I mean, who would not be? He's more than 70 years old. He knows that if he's sent to Japan, he might well never come out alive from a Japanese prison. So he's anxious, but he's also in a fighting spirit, as we are all. And I think that the huge support that is coming from all over the world gives him some hope.
For the viewers who don't know, the charges that Paul Watson faces in Japan are not new. He was detained in Greenland on a 2012 Japanese arrest warrant, which accuses him of causing damage to a whaling ship back in 2010 and injuring a whaler. What's his defence to that?
That is one of the most craziest aspect of this case, and this is indeed maybe where we should start looking at it, which is that what happened 14 years ago, and Japan is still going after this man who was not on the scene in regards to what they consider charges of harming someone of the Japanese crew who was on the boat at that time. We have provided evidence to the judge, to the investigators, that what is alleged is the liability of who threw this stink bomb on that boat could not have harmed these men. For reasons of this being liquid, not gas, it could not hit this man who was apparently burnt. And we also provided evidence that
video evidence.
Yeah, video evidence that if he has been burned by something, it's by his own pepper gas that he was spraying at the boat where Pete Bitoon was, the guy who threw this stink bomb. So we provided evidence that we consider is not challengeable, that nothing happened, and that is 14 years ago. Going after Paul Watson after these 14 years for something which did not happen is absolute proof that this is political and nothing else.
He has a lot of support here in France, doesn't he? He was living here when he was arrested. And originally there was an idea to ask Emmanuel Macron to grant him political asylum. You've taken that to a slightly different step now.
Yeah. First remark in regards to Paul Watson's stay in France, he was not arrested here, which means that this red notice should never have been in the system and that Denmark should never have carried out the arrest. He was in France and everything was okay. So some countries understand that this Japanese persecution must not be followed. Number 2 remark is, indeed, because he stayed here and because he has proven all his life to render to the planet, to humanity, exceptional services. There is a provision under the French Civil Code which enables the French presidency and the French president, with a couple of other authorities intervening in the process, to give French citizenship to someone who provided exceptional service to France. And
so instead of asylum, it would be giving French citizenship?
That would be legally something that the president can do, could do, and we understand that this is under consideration, and we think that France would honor itself in doing so, in saying clearly that people who help the world help France, knowing that France has the second largest maritime territory in the world. So I think this would make full sense.
What do you say to those people that say he should face a trial, and you know, if there are accusations to be answered, then the way to do that is in a court?
I'd say two things. I'd say, okay, very well, but first of all, facts should not be time barred. And as I said, for such a minor offence, 14 years afterwards, for me, time bar is there. Number two, why not face a trial? But if you are sure that this trial will be compliant with due process, and we know, because there are precedents, that as well in regards of Article 6 of the European Rights Convention on Human Rights, and Article 3 in regards to prison conditions in Japan prior to trials, that Paul Watson's fundamental rights will not be respected.
So you have no confidence in the Japanese legal system?
Not in this case. Obviously not in a case where after, as I said at least twice already, 14 years after what supposedly happened, which did not happen, there is absolutely no doubt on our side that he will not receive a fair trial.
Good to talk to you on the programme today.
Thanks
very much for coming
me.
in and talking to us. William Julié, an international criminal lawyer who's part of Paul Watson's defence legal team. Thanks once again.
Thank you again.